Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
Good afternoon. All right, good. Ready whenever you are.
Mike, did you start the recorder?
Yep, he did.
Okay, so I'll call the Clinton County Industrial Development Agency meeting to order, December 8th, 2025 at 12:05. The quorum and ready the reading of the notice of the meeting as well as the minutes for a approval of those minutes.
I'll move, Chairman.
Mike,
One second.
Christine, second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ollie?
Yes, so we do have a couple presentations today. Our first is going to be Kroll LLC. David Dennison and some of his colleagues are here to discuss the project application that you have in your folder. So Dave, I don't know who wants to kick it off first.
Sure, I can. Can everybody hear me clearly?
Yes.
Dan? Yep.
Perfect. So thank you so much for your time today. Here to talk about a very exciting project. First, I can't thank Molly and her team enough for helping us get through the application process, and knowing that that's, you know, a continual working document. Just her expertise and mentorship through the process so far has been just amazing to have. And so appreciate the board's time today. Unfortunately, I could not be there. I planned to be there in person. Very surprised to see that the travel delays were on the southern United States side instead of the north, where I know you guys are getting some pretty cold weather right now. So again, thank you for your time. Just quickly, if I can share my screen, let me make sure that everybody can see that.
Yes.
Is that appearing for you all?
Yep, looks good.
Perfect. All right, so we are talking about Project Leo. Just a quick run through the table of contents. We just want to do a background, an overview. I know BESS is maybe a newer technology, so want to kind of talk through what the actual community benefits of this are, site planning, and then ultimately some property tax projections that we've made if the project is to come to fruition. But first, let's do a background on the company. I'm joined by 3 representatives of Brookfield Renewable US, so I'll kick it over to Burke and his team to do a round of introductions.
Thank you, David. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Burke Gursoy. I'm Vice President Project Development in Brookfield Renewable. Been with the company for over 22 years now, and I'm responsible for all our energy storage and wind project developments across the board. Joining me, we have Vijendra Mane, who is the project manager for this particular project, and he's been working on this for over a few years now, as well as Paul Brenton, my colleague and Vice President Legal, who is involved in kind of property tax discussions with the counties for the various projects that we develop. Vijay, Paul, would you like to introduce yourself?
None, Burke, other than to say I also have 22 years with Brookfield and a lot of experience with the IDAs across New York State. We've got probably over 80 generating assets in New York State, and we pride ourselves as a significant tax contributor to the communities in which we generate.
I'll quickly say hello to everyone. It's nice to be here, and just a quick background, I'm a developer at Brookfield, been with the company for 5 years. I'm involved in project management of the storage project, and as Burke mentioned, have been involved since the initiation of this project and working on it for the last year and a half. have been closely working with the town supervisor at the town of Dannemora, who we were involved in right from identifying the project location and executing a lease agreement with them, and have been in close communications with them.
Perfect. And so just my name is David Dennison. I'm just a tax consultant. I work for Kroll. We're a worldwide firm that is assisting Brookfield in analyzing several locations across their portfolio in the United States. And our primary objective is to mitigate tax risk for them, analyze additional sites across the United States, and ensure that projects have our tiny piece of tax makes a project viable. So Brookfield's operated in Newark for a very long time, 9,000 plus megawatts of generating capacity, and powering 2 million homes annually across the United States. We do have a quick slide on their footprint. You can see they operate heavily in the Northeast, but are spread out across the United States. Moving on to the actual project. This is a battery energy storage system project, or what we call BESS. It's going to deliver 75 megawatts when turned on for a limited amount of time when energy prices are at their peak. We expect the site to be about 16.4 acres, but really 5 of those acres would be utilized for the actual facility. We're expecting around 25 temporary jobs. I was super excited to see that there are members of the board that work in electrical trade, that work in the utilities. So I hope you guys are as excited as we are about working on this project. The 25 construction jobs of varying types and scopes. And then we're looking at an investment figure of $127 million today, and that was what was submitted on the application. I do just want to caution everybody that we're still early enough in the process that these capital investment numbers are subject to change, and it would be our responsibility as we walk down the path of partnership with you to continue to refine those and communicate those completely when changes are made to that schedule. But roughly about over $120 million in capital expenditure to get the project installed. Looking at a final investment decision sometime in 2028. They're still working through levels of interconnect that require them to get a little bit more specific about their operating expenses and judge that against the viability of the project to move forward. So that really brings us to you today, is to try to get a little bit of clarity around what those operating expenses would look like, make sure that this is the right fit for the community, and that you all support the benefits that this project might bring to the community. And we have an in-service date sometime around 2030 when the batteries would be able to be turned on and supply electricity that's charged from the grid back into the grid when prices are high. So really quick, what's really exciting about battery technology is it does not move capacity forward throughout the nation, but what it does do is allow us to tackle a price issue, a price and reliability issue, as other forms of generation are brought online across the nation. So the way this battery works is in the middle of the night, when the demand is much lower, we see much lower prices in wholesale markets, merchant to utility markets. That allows the batteries to be charged at a very low price when use is very low, likely, sometime when we're all sleeping around 2, 3, 4 a.m. And then when everybody gets home, starts to power on their homes, is finished at work where those industrial systems are a little bit more efficient, everybody starts to turn everything on at home, and that's when this battery clicks on. And what that does is when those energy prices spike in real-time markets, a battery energy storage system is able to bring that price down a little bit by reducing the demand on the system. and hopefully in the long term across the nation where all these are installed, does its part to decrease price volatility in the long run. And I want to hand it over to the Brookfield team if you guys want to piggyback on anything I said there, but essentially a huge community asset in an attempt to keep prices for electricity stable longer as we move into this crazy energy boom that we know the United States is going through.
I think
So
that's a
again,
good summary.
Sorry,
David, yeah, any questions kind of so far that we could address? Hearing none.
No,
maybe we can
no
continue.
questions right now.
Thank you.
Perfect. This is just a chart that explains like we're still kind of a little bit on the frontier of battery energy storage systems as a component to the answer of the United States energy demands. We're nowhere near where this industry will go in the future, but anticipating rapid growth in this industry. We believe that based on some economic impact analyses, this would be the largest battery energy storage system installed in New York right now. So really cool highlight there. If the project's to come to fruition, Clinton County would be in possession of the largest one of these facilities in New York for now. The reason why the site planning is working is there's been a great amount of due diligence to make sure that this is a viable candidate site. We understand that there is a substation nearby that we can hook into very easily. All the site control that needs to be done has been conducted. There is a lease if this project moves forward. There is a lease. We understand how small the footprint is. Wetlands and associated 100-foot buffers are fully avoided. An ESA is complete and clean, and the Adirondack Park Agency has verified no fatal flaws in the way the site is designed today. Just a brief kind of run through of what we're seeing from an economic impact. It's not just property taxes, it doesn't just stop there, but the revenue generated from ABES operating in the area, has something on the order of magnitude of, $2 million in earnings if you count in indirect and induced impacts. And we estimate somewhere around 5.7 to 8.7 million in construction labor and construction materials and local labor that I know that the company is dedicated to sourcing locally to the extent that those services are available. I know we had a member from the IBEW, so I know there's certainly that trades will be involved that are well needed on site. So before we get into requested incentives, obviously that this is one of our major concerns is property tax. It's the largest operating expense. At current point, if it were to enter the market at standard rates, it's cost prohibitive. And so that's kind of our job, is to look across the nation. Where can we deploy capital that's going to make a meaningful community impact and also be financially viable? I think what's really exciting about this battery technology as opposed to solar or wind is the amount of acres it takes, right? So we're going to cram about $127 million of property tax value at your assessor into a 5-acre site. So it's an incredible use of land, the tax revenue relative to the number of parcels it takes to put that value on the digest. So what the request is right now is for the sales and use tax exemption afforded by a UTEP IDA agreement. The 5,000 per megawatt pilot payment, I believe, is Schedule 3, and that request is for the standard 15 years. And then, the purpose of this is to reduce operating costs and make the project viable. We see long-term tax revenue growth. I've got a next slide that talks a little bit about the figures that we've estimated to date. So think of this slide as two columns. Column on the left is years 1 through 15 under a scenario where the community is supportive and we do enter into a leaseback IDA agreement at the 5,000 per megawatt pilot. We pulled the property tax cards for the parcels, and we know what exists right there for the first 15 years is about $724,000 worth of property tax revenue to the county. That's for the first 15 years. And even under the Schedule 3, that would increase to about 5.6 million for those 5 acres. So huge 600+% increase, not a lot of land to do it. The column on the right is regular taxation. Obviously, year 16, we leave the UTEP. It's back to regular taxation for the value, minus what might have depreciated on site. And in that tranche, we're seeing about 11.6 to 13 million in property tax revenue for a total of over 17 million property tax revenue for the next 35 years on the 5-acre site. Based on the tax rates, we understand the school is around the 50% of total tax rates incurred at the site. So Northern Adirondack Central School District, we'd estimate over the next 35 years to receive about 8.6 million in property tax revenue from the project.
Did you break down what NAC would receive, under current assess with no project, trying to figure out the delta for the school district?
Yes, I can do that. The 724 is inclusive of all taxing jurisdictions. So the easy math would be to divide that figure by 2, because we think about 50% of the total tax rate millages at this current site are attributed to the school. So 700,000 divided by 2, 5.6 million divided by 2, that same increase. They should be rather proportional. So in terms of percentage increase to the school, it's still a 677 kind of percent increase.
Have you had any conversations with the school district about the project at all?
No, not today.
No, which is fine. I just know that, they get a little touchy. So obviously pending what we do, I think it's imperative that your team reaches out to the school district, their superintendent and business manager, and fully explain, the project so they're familiar. School districts, as you probably also know, like to take any IDA benefit in the form of a host community agreement as opposed to a pilot payment. So that may come up in your discussions with the school.
Yes, and Molly's done a great job of kind of talking us through that. Obviously, the IDA is kind of our first stop, right? We want your guidance, and kind of your mentorship in talking with other local stakeholders. This is a project we want everybody to walk away from being happy that it's there in the community, lowering real-time energy prices, providing tax revenue to the districts that hold jurisdiction over the parcels. So 100%, it is in our total roadmap to get with the superintendent and the school. Just wanted to feel out this discussion first. I know there's no action plan for today, but we're here to present and then answer as many questions as we possibly can, and then ask you, what would you like us to do next in order to move the ball forward? Because again, we're in this project financeability stage where we need to figure out if it's going to be viable or not.
I have a couple more questions.
Go for that.
Yes, sir.
So in your presentation, you're obviously looking at a Category 3 UTEP benefit, and I thought I read in the application that the deviation box was checked. Was that just an anomaly?
No, sir. The Schedule 3 should be checked, not a deviation.
Deviation is checked.
Okay.
We can change.
We can amend that and send that back over.
Yeah, there, it
Makes the
actually,
negotiation far easier, I'm not gonna
we
lie.
actually have a box there. It says renewable energy. It's a technicality. We'll have
Okay.
you amend that. Our attorneys will.
So
Get a red line
you're
for you
actually, you are in fact seeking the category 3.
We're
It's
seeking
technically
the
our
standard
rule.
policy. Yes, sir.
No deviation.
No deviation. Yeah.
No deviation, okay. And I think you said this, but I like to ask it point blank, so it's not lost. What is the status of this project absent an IDA tax benefit?
Yeah, my understanding is that the financial viability of the project without this reduction in property tax is nil. Like it would not get built. And it's not a here versus there argument. There are no other communities getting pitted against this. They analyze tons of sites across their portfolio, and those with the best financial pro forma are the ones that get put up to the top, and the board releases capital. It's just that's the nature of the game. It's a go or no go kind of situation that we have here with and that's common across a lot of energy. I'm sure you guys have seen tons of people knock on the door. But we're very serious about this project, very serious about making it work. And that's why we're here today to present it to you and get your feelings.
And obviously the town of Dannemora is in favor?
I'll let VJ speak
Yeah.
to, he's had more conversations with them about that.
Yeah, the town of Dannemora actually is in favor, and we have a lease with the town of Dannemora as well. We've met with the town supervisors multiple times, and we also have a letter of support from the town because one of the things that David mentioned is we're in the middle of evaluating the financial viability, but we're also submitting the project into a NYSERDA statewide solicitation for battery projects. And, so the town has been pretty supportive to us, providing a lot of support and feedback materials that we're also providing to NYSERDA for these projects.
So did I hear you? Is this on town land, town owned land, or privately held land?
So there's around the substation, there's a mix of town owned and privately owned land both. So we're at this stage evaluating that entire footprint.
And for my board members' benefit, I sent an email out earlier this morning. You have the application in front of you. Their application was 380 pages, which includes some of their lease agreements in there. It includes their environmental in there. There's a lot that there's a letter of support in there. So make in your emails, you have the access to those documents. But for the sake of trees, we didn't really want to, make Tony print out 350 copies of that.
Speaking of trees, I do believe one of the slides mentioned, you've looked at so this type of project has no poor impact, deleterious impact on the environment. There's what's the technology as far as a potential leak or any of the stuff that a layman might ask about a battery project?
Yeah. So these think of these as shipping containers. So there's shipping containers. There's going to be around 50 of them, though, over the 5 to 10 acre lot. And as part of the diligence process, we've engaged the Adirondack Park Agency as well. So they've done a site assessment, and one of the key criteria for them is ensuring that there's no wetlands on site and no negative environmental impact from a habitat standpoint, from noise, visuals. So we're going to go through that process, no cultural resource assessed impacts. And so we're going to go through that process, and we've done that extensive diligence where we've done that phase 1 environmental site assessments. We've done a detailed in-field wetlands delineation assessment to ensure that we're avoiding any wetlands so that there's no environmental impacts. And then one of the items you mentioned was fire safety. So we're working very closely with the leading fire safety consultant, ESRG. That's it's founded by a New York City firefighter, and they essentially do a detailed diligence on the technology and the chemistry and any fire safety risks, and they work with the local fire departments to ensure that the local firefighters are trained. They have all the knowledge to be aware of any risks about the project and the technology. And we keep the local fire departments in the loop, have emergency response plans, in-person site trainings. Plus, Brookfield also has a operations center in Queensbury, which is less than 2 hours away from site, and the facility is going to be monitored 24/7 by that at that operations center as well.
So maybe another way to put it, there is really nothing to leak from the batteries. The primary concern or the primary consideration is fire safety, like Vijender can explain. So these shipping containers, they're not actually shipping containers, they're shipping container sized, manufactured kind of devices with the batteries, plus a lot of electronics kind of within. They have internal kind of fire mitigation, detection, and avoidance kind of mechanisms as well. Like Vijendra said, in the event, in the highly unlikely case of a fire, we'll be working with the fire department to make sure that they are kind of prepared and familiar with the risks and how to mitigate.
And the is there a required distance between containers so there would alleviate a spread?
That's right. That's right. And that's taken into account in the project design, which is why we expect the footprint, including those space, if you will, that's going to be left between the containers, is going to take approximately 5 acres.
Thank you. Well, I got one last question. I'm sorry.
Go for it.
I think Molly might have whispered this in my ear already, but I'm sure that the town and maybe some others out there are seeking a community host agreement. I mean, I just would ask that we determine a IDA benefit prior to in-depth discussions on anybody who's seeking a community host agreement.
Absolutely. My background is in economic development. I've been a consultant, but I was with the Georgia Department of Economic Development. We're going to take our lead from Molly and the rest of the board. So when it is an appropriate time, when we're through with what you need of us here, that's when we'll go and have those discussions. But we are 100% following your lead on how we go through this process and make sure it's the correct partnership for everybody.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions from the board?
You had my vote till you called me sir.
The fee structure with the IDA, do they talk about that or no?
No, we can.
So I'm Chris, agency counsel. I just want to make sure as we're in the nascent stage of this, that you understand that the project applicant will be responsible for 1% fee based on the overall project costs.
0.75.
3/4.
I'm sorry, 3/4, getting my IDA script. So, but it's based on the overall project size, and before the IDA would provide any of the benefits that you're seeking, that fee would need to be paid.
Okay, so that's 3/4% of total installed costs
Of the 121.
Okay. And is that the mortgage recording tax or what kind of, that's just a fee to the IDA?
That's it's pretty standard across the state. Some IDAs charge 1%. This IDA charges 3/4 of 1%, but it's based on the overall project cost. It's not based on the amount of tax incentives you're receiving. I
Yeah.
just want to make sure it's clear at the beginning.
We did see a set of other fees, and we're making sure we build those into the project finances. So thank you.
Sure.
My counsel's always looking out for me, so.
And there would be lawyers' fees, sorry, but there would be some
Yeah,
lawyers.
but they're almost free.
Well,
So
I'm glad to hear they're below New York's average across IDA. So that's
They are. So, in a former life, I just, so who, no, a former before that. Who would be against this? Because what you've presented is I understand it, which means you've done a pretty good job. And, you've talked about, you've answered questions before I could ask them, which I found, very positive, but who would be against it?
I mean, and Vijendra, correct me if I'm wrong, like so far we haven't heard of any negative.
Even on similar
Yeah.
projects in other communities.
So, yeah.
What types of concerns are out there with a project like this?
So it's less to do with communities, I would say, in upstate, and it has more to do with just commercial viability of building a project like this. So until this recent NYSERDA, RFP, where NYSERDA at a state level is soliciting batteries, there wasn't a commercial market for batteries. So that was the biggest, restricting factor. You see all these wind farms and solar farms in upstate, in Clinton County, Franklin County, and that's been driven by the demand from NYSERDA, and that didn't exist for batteries, which is why you haven't seen these. And it's less to do with local opposition and more to do with just a use case for a battery. But now that you're seeing more wind farms being generated, the way we've cited this facility is it's right in between those wind farms in Clinton County, in that region, and then also the Saranac gas facility where, we could charge when there's cheap wind and low demand for energy, and discharge when there's high demand, but not enough local generation.
Yeah. And maybe just to tie in with the question, like elsewhere across the US where we are developing similar projects, what is the primary question or concern that's raised? Typically, it's fire.
Yeah.
Say that Midwest.
Which
There
is
was
why,
some, I think if you Google, there were some fires in the Midwest early on because of the dry. Correct. Yep.
that's correct. There was a few fires in the Midwest. There was a fire in California, 2 fires, I think, several years ago. I would say earlier designs and earlier, I guess, kind of design and materials based equipment. There were those kind of issues. Those have been addressed. The battery suppliers are continuously improving their kind of technology, their designs, the materials that they use to mitigate that risk. Plus, as I was mentioning earlier, they build in kind of additional fire detection, avoidance, and mitigation mechanisms into their designs, into those kind of shipping containers that you see on the picture here. Plus, there is increasing kind of education across the fire departments in the US and increased familiarity as to how to deal with a potential fire, even though it's very low probability. So that's what we have been kind of focusing on as one of the key issues that we want to address, which is why we engaged that kind of New York based kind of fire consultant, ESRG, that consists of kind of ex-fire chiefs, former fire chiefs and fire brigade, I guess, kind of, volunteers and whatnot, to be able to kind of understand the technology and speak the same language with the local fire departments as to the risks and the mitigation measures that come with these kind of projects. Other than that, I mean, they're shipping containers. There isn't much to see. They don't make much noise. There's nothing to leak. There's no rotating machinery. There's no, emissions, exhaust gas or what have you. They're pretty straightforward, pretty benign, I guess, kind of facilities and installations.
Good, thank you. Can we quickly go back to your 2-column slide?
Yes, sir.
That was fast. How did we determine what the assessed value would be? I know that in energy projects, determining assessed value is a little tricky. So to come up with these numbers, you came up with an assessed value on what you thought that what you thought that would be over time.
We certainly did. I have a partner team here at Kroll in the tax services division who does property tax all day long. They're very familiar with New York's setup. These battery systems, we know very well the statutes involved. They will be considered real property. We have conducted several models throughout New York in the history of the practice. So we've got a very good idea of not just the total installed cost value, but other valuation methods that assessors might employ across New York, whether that's, income, fair market value. So we've kind of blended those together to give us the best possible picture now and make sure that there is going to be deviation from assessor to assessor, but that's minimized. We've kind of taken all of their looks at the same time and then just scaled that over time. And then we laid the proposed 5,000 megawatt pilot over those taxes.
So I know in New York, some of these energy type projects, the value was actually determined by the state of New York and not the local assessor. Do you believe this would be determined by the local assessor or New York State?
Believe this would be by the local assessor.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we'll get you some clarity on that and why we feel that way. In a lot of cases, in a lot of states, when you're a utility or a utility subsidy, that's when you start getting state assessment. But since this is a merchant facility, private merchant, things change.
And you said that they put almost 2.5 million is what their assessed value would be.
Right, but I don't know where they
How they
got
came
it.
up with that, yeah.
I mean, these guys are smart. So, but could your pro forma handle an assessor looking at it and determining it was I'm making this up, 2.75 million? Or does your pro forma 100% rely on what your team came up with for an assessed value?
It does not 100% rely on this. It is the equipment costs are continually in flux. And that won't be known until we get closer to the project. And so this isn't a live or die type property tax estimate. It's the best we have at this point in time. And it's made to give them clarity and to give you as much clarity as we possibly can at this point in time. There will be some, if we know anything, the total amount of CapEx down to the penny will change by the time that this gets final investment decision and construction starts. That's the one thing we do know is that these numbers will change, but this is the best, most accurate that we can provide at this point in time. And at every step of the way, my responsibility is to communicate these changes to Molly, like the second in real time, the second that they happen, and get her guidance on what needs to be done.
I'm done, I promise. I'm getting the evil eye here from my colleague.
Well, I'm so sorry we took up so much of your time. I know you got regular business, you got a lot of other things to do. Just know that I wanted to be with you today. Hopefully everybody's walking away from this meeting that we want to have more meetings and that I will get an opportunity to be there in person, possibly twice. And so I'm very excited to see you all and meet you and just continue to work on this partnership together, and can't appreciate Molly enough for everything she's done for our team.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Most appreciated. Just a reminder to the board, so no action item on this today. At the next meeting, you'll contemplate a public hearing, and then if all goes well, in February, we would contemplate an approving resolution. Questions? All right, well, thanks, guys. We appreciate it. We'll be in touch for sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Bye now.
I will say they're probably the first application I've seen that actually had a value on the assessed value when it comes to these, because I usually have to hound them for that, so. That
Well,
was,
what you don't want is everybody moving forward with an assessed value in
Right.
mind, thereby determining the break and then it changing.
right,
And then they're either upset
yeah,
or the jurisdictions are upset.
yeah. So, it does sound like they've been pretty involved in community, like speaking with the community people that they need to speak to. So they've done a very, very thorough job, especially in a very short amount of time, because this was pretty, they move fast on this, so.
It was refreshing listening to them.
Yeah, they clearly have worked with IDAs before.
Yeah, they were
That
right
was
to the point, and they had their facts. They obviously had figured things out.
Yeah,
impressive.
yeah, and like I said, I did research once I figured out which company it was to figure out who it was. There's a couple on Long Island, I think, but the biggest concerns have been in the communities in the Midwest where they have a high fire risk, and there were some problems.
How did they find the town of Dannemora? You watched the movie. That's marketing. I thought you were gonna say it was the idea, it was our video.
Must be. They didn't say. I mean, they've been working with Dannemora for a little while now, I guess, so.
So when they said Saranac, were they referring to Saranac Power Partners?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so. And
Pipeline.
I had a question on how there'd be some synergy there. I don't know the answer to that.
They were operational today when we drove by. Smoke coming in.
Oh,
Well, it could
They did.
breathe new life into that facility.
yeah. Gotcha. So, great.
I mean,
All right. I'm glad we established our feet, right?
Well, you know, I knew that
Like,
they would understand that.
Yeah.
That would get home as a real consultant, obviously.
Yeah, Yeah.
But I just, from the start, I always want to make sure, because sometimes even a sophisticated project applicant get on these calls and they go, oh, we thought the IDAP was based on the benefits we received. You have to kind of just make sure that.
yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah,
Appreciate
make sure you're taken care of.
that.
Not me anymore, buddy. It's Christine.
That's true.
Chairman, we can move to the next item if you're ready.
Yes,
All right, so we have Darren. I hopefully he's still here with us, so who has sat through that. There he is. Hi, Darren.
Hello.
So Darren is, just gonna give us, Golden Shovel, let me tell you, has been, phenomenal to work with. And they keep me on task very, very much so, to deadlines and things. So, we've been working diligently and taking that market strategy and applying it through to the new website design. And Darren has been working on that design for us. That we just give you a little update as to where we're at. Darren, take it away.
All right. Well, thank you guys for giving me a little bit of time today. So before I kind of walk through and kind of show you where we're at as far as the website project, kind of retrace our steps on how we got to where we're at today. So we worked through a marketing strategy process. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with that. I think you guys had opportunity to review that. So we completed that. And that really laid the foundation for this website work that we're in the middle of right now. So we kicked off the website project on September 22nd. And included in that is the design and development of a website, of course. We wrote the content. The strategy provided a lot of guidance for that. We've created a video banner, which I believe we just approved last week. So we'll have a nice looping video banner when the website's up. And moving forward, there'll be hosting and maintenance. Basically, we'll keep the website up and running after live launch and make sure it's functioning correctly. So that's where we're at today. So we have a design approved. I'm going to pull that up here momentarily. And we're looking at a soft launch presentation mid to late January. So that will be a meeting I'll have with Molly. And I'll walk through a working development site page by page, and then we'll put together a plan to get that all polished up and live. So that's where we're at today. So we're in the middle of pre-population. So why don't I give you a little sneak peek of the website layouts. You guys can see my screen, right? I will be honest, I'm a little not super used to Teams, but you guys can see my screen, right?
Yes. Yep.
All right. All right. So with Molly, we worked through a homepage layout and a subpage template layout. So I'm gonna give you kind of a scan of the different features that are gonna live on this homepage. So this will be your banner area. So that video I mentioned, that'll be playing in the background here. So that'll loop through. Our content team worked on some welcome text. You will see some Latin text replacement here. That's just part of the design process, and I'll point it out when we get to it. Visitors will have the ability to share pages they are on to their social media accounts. We highlighted some data points here. And then we designed a stylized map. So we wanted to really highlight your location and proximity to other markets here. So this was our location map, which we really feel is important for all economic development homepages. These would be some featured sites that we'll be able to have front and center on your homepage. So when we get to live launch, we'll be determining what those sites will be, and those will link to full details on those specific listings. We're going to highlight some of your local companies in this page. This will be a logo carousel that will link to specific profiles. We wanted to highlight your specific target industries so that those will live here. We're going to have some testimonials. They'll scroll through. Pardon me?
Yeah, just one of the board members. That's his picture. So we thought that was funny.
Oh, okay. It's good you have good things to say. It's good you have a nice positive testimonial here. So that's what this will be, scrolling testimonials.
Exactly.
We're gonna have a featured news feed, and I'm really excited to talk to you about the ongoing service that will kick off after we go live. That's kind of maybe the biggest thing I want to discuss today. So that's coming up. So we'll have a featured news on your homepage, and we will be creating consistent news content for you. And then we also want to have a quality of life section of the homepage here. So this is where we'll highlight that. So that is how your homepage will look when it's live. And then, like I mentioned, we created a subpage template. So basically, you're looking at the structure that would be that would house all of the interior content, all the pages all the content on the interior pages, whether that's just straight up content, an embedded real estate feed potentially, one of our modules. So this is just how the structure would work. And so this is just, you can see some page formatting. And then there's some opportunities to get creative with how we populate these subpages. So that is your homepage layout. So like I said, right now, this development site is getting built and populated, ready for that soft launch presentation come mid-late January. So does anybody have any questions about these layouts I presented?
I think you guys did a great job.
Yeah.
The one, this is minuscule, is when you go to your IDA map.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. If we could somehow make Plattsburgh bigger.
Sure, we can do that. Put that down. Yeah, and also just by the way, we'll be able to get the organization these files if you guys want to use this map on any other materials moving forward.
And the BBG and this Golden Shovel have held a couple of different calls, so they know what they're doing moving forward. So
BBG.
yeah, worry about it.
Okay.
No, honestly, you guys know what you're doing. This is a pretty classy operation.
Well, I appreciate that. So, okay, so the second thing I want to talk about is this ongoing support. This is where we've really kind of made our mark, I would say, in the industry here, is this ongoing support, because anybody can build a website, right? But we live in the economic development space, and we also created this ongoing support, content creation and ongoing website support service called the Gatekeeper service, which you're looking at now. So you'll be working with the Golden Shovel team. You'll have a assigned rep that'll be meeting with Molly on a monthly basis after we go live here. But then you also have access to our entire team. You'll have access to a strategist. You'll have access to a copywriter who will be working directly with you. And we're going to keep that website up to date, and you'll have us available, to make simple updates, simple text changes, or maybe, more in-depth changes as necessary. And you did mention the other vendor you're working with. We're gonna partner with them. They're going to be doing some campaign work for you guys after launch. And then they can also utilize our service to kind of complement what they're doing. Okay, so what is this gatekeeper service? So I mentioned it's the ongoing support. So I'll walk through that first. You guys will have access to your website. So if there are changes, updates that you want to make on your own, you'll get trained on how our economic gateway works. Our economic gateway, by the way, is a proprietary content management system that was tailor-made for economic development organizations like yours. So I'm going to talk about content creation in a second here. But like I mentioned, we're going to meet on a consistent basis. This sell sheet does say quarterly meetings. We could potentially move to quarterly meetings at some point, but we for sure always start off monthly with our clients. We'll help you create social accounts if you need help with that, creating graphics, populating them, etc. I mentioned the website updates, simple text changes, or maybe you need some infographics created or other types of graphics. We're here to help you with that. You will be receiving a quarterly report. Those are oftentimes nice inserts to board meeting packets that consists of updates to our content management system. Golden Shovel is always creating thought leadership content that we push out on a monthly basis. That's over here, webinars, podcasts, and ebooks. So this will have a summary of that. But then it'll also have a graphic intensive snapshot of your Google Analytics, so your website traffic. So you can we can review those on a quarterly basis and make sure we're always trending upwards on that and see where folks are going. So those are reports that you guys could be, like I said, could be included in board packets if you're interested in that type of data. I mentioned content that we're going to write for you. We'll also schedule that for you in your newsfeed and on your social media accounts. We find other content recommendations every month. I mentioned that we are an economic development marketing communications firm, so we're always on top of latest trends. Our economic gateway is built with data tools, pulling from Esri data. That data is updated on an annual basis, so you can always be confident that the data that's on the site is up to date. And then we do annual website audits, making sure we're on top of best practices and things like that. Do broken links checks. Scans like that. So that's a summary of the ongoing support. But the content creation, that's kind of the shining star here. So you will be working with a copywriter that will join those monthly calls that I mentioned. And I won't go through this topic by topic. I'm just going to hop to page 2 and just get to the custom content, because that's what clients really really enjoy as part of the service. So those are monthly features. 500 or so words. Like I mentioned, the copywriter would be on the call, so we can give that copywriter people to interview. So these features can be about anything, right? Maybe there's some initiatives that you guys are focusing on. For 2026, for example, we can do features around those. Local success stories. Board member profiles potentially. We do that for clients. But what I'm suspecting. We'll be utilizing this content for us to complement the digital campaign work the other agency's doing. So, like I mentioned, we work well with other vendors, and so I'm suspecting that this custom content will, like I said, be a complement to the work that they're doing as well. So that's a high level overview of the gatekeeper service. So,
which is music to my ears.
Yeah, so I want to think, we like to think of us as kind of an extension of your team, right? So all of a sudden, once we go live, Molly, you'll have a marketing department.
Love that.
So,
Better than more staff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So does anybody have any questions about the ongoing support or anything I spoke about?
Well, I'm impressed. I think you guys are. You pulled me out of the dark ages.
All right. Well, you guys have been great to work with too, and I'm always excited about the clients that do the strategy initially. It really helps, like I said, kind of lay the foundation for the website work and everything we're going to be doing down the road. I mean, we've got a content plan ready to go, just ready to kick off as soon as we hit that live button. So,
any other
Thank you,
questions,
Dan.
guys? No?
All right.
Thanks, Darren. I really appreciate it, and we'll be in touch, of course.
All right. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank
Yeah.
you. we've been talking about this for a while, so I thought it was important you guys see the work that's been going on behind the scenes. It's been a labor of love there. Like I said, they're good. So, but they have been great to work with, and I'm really excited about the direction they're taking it, so. Yeah, so, all right. Chairman, we can move on.
Do we have a president?
Christine, our deputy treasurer, is going to read it for us.
Oh, thank you, Christine.
So balance sheet, the account balance on 11/30/2025 was $99,990 in checking, 1.19 in the sweep account, and 150,364 in the savings account. The income statement, the organization made $185.24 in interest income on the savings account.
Which, by the way, you'll note is significantly higher than what we've seen in the past because we moved the type of savings account that we've had, so it's higher than we used to see.
The income statement shows the expenses that were approved and paid during the month of November on the cash basis. Those invoices were Clinton County Treasurer for admin fees, $13,000, CPL feasibility study, $1,715, CPL feasibility study, $4,937.75, credit card payment for video footage and meeting expense, $2,889.54. A bank charge sweep fee was $10. So total expenses in the amount of $21,752.29. So on the CCRC side, the balance sheet, the account balance on 11/30/2025 was $97,557 in checking, $244,230.62 in the sweep account, and $150,837.65 in the savings account. And income, the organization received $100 from NFI for FTZ fees and $185.84 in interest income. Expenses, the organization paid $1,260 to Miller and Company for legal services.
That's, and that's for David Ostermeyer, used to be with Lehman Lurch. He's now with this company, so, he's met with like 5 different companies about establishing FTZs, so. Which I think 2 are definitely gonna move forward, so that'll be an extra source of income for the CRC.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christine.
Any questions for Christine?
Just a reminder that, with the merger of the 2 banks.
Yeah.
We had savings with Saratoga National.
Okay,
So technically that's now Arrow.
right,
So we just, from the FDIC concern that we had, you
Oh,
want to keep
okay.
that in consideration.
okay,
It's all the same. It's all one bank.
so
So,
we have to be worried about that?
I don't think we're going anywhere tomorrow, okay, as a bank.
Yeah,
But from an audit standpoint,
okay,
okay, they will probably pick up the fact that the banks have been merged
Mm.
into one, and now it's the aggregate is one. Right, so what you may want to just think about is you've got the sweep account.
Mhm.
Do you really need a savings account anymore? Or do you need much in it?
Hmm.
That's all I'm saying. Cause we set up originally because we exceeded the FDIC threshold
right,
and we went to Saratoga.
right,
Because they were technically two
Right.
different banks. Now we've merged the 2 of those together under Arrow as one, so it doesn't count as 2 separate. anymore.
Shannon, do you have opinion on that as from the audit perspective?
I agree with Chris that you have to diversify, I think, so if you're getting rid of one account, you should put that money in another account that can be insured separately.
Or we could put it all in sweep account.
Put it sweep, yeah. That's what we have now. It just,
We wouldn't have any interest income, but I mean, we're not getting a significant amount,
yeah, that's the, keep on hand, you're just, the FDIC insured, because when you get an audit, they're
Right.
gonna bring that up.
right?
At the end of the day, is it really, is Arrow going anywhere tomorrow? No, but an audit is gonna pick up the
Right,
fact that
right.
that
That makes sense.
it's all one now.
Okay. All right, yeah, we'll take a look. That's a very good suggestion.
Why don't we wait to see what the audit says? They don't
It doesn't
say-
matter to me.
they don't say
What I'm
anything,
saying
don't do
is,
anything.
it's just something to
Yeah,
consider.
to think about, for sure. Yeah, no, I'll put it on my to-do list, so to speak, and take a look at it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, the anticipation of all this money that potentially could be in that account on diversification might be warranted, for sure.
You know, and you know, if you're thinking about the interest piece of this, okay, which, you know, you can, there are products that are basically like our wealth management department would go out and buy CDs,
Right.
you know, from multiple banks across the,
Right.
you know, the country. It gives you FDIC insurance on each of those because they're all multiple banks.
Mm.
And then you
Okay.
don't have to do anything. You can just let one person take care of all that for you.
Okay.
So it's a discussion I'm more than happy to set up.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Do we just want to, on the audit committee?
So we'll just skip it essentially, Shannon, Chris?
No, I think we would recommend the initiation of the audit. You know, we have a lack of, for the audit committee. We
Yeah.
recommend going forward and initiating an audit, and then we'll have the audit committee at the next meeting ratify that action.
Okay.
Do we need a motion for that?
We would, yeah.
As a member of the audit committee, I'd like to make a recommendation that we proceed forward and get it ratified down the road.
Okay.
You can fix the wording to that.
Thank
if you'd like it.
I guess I will second that.
Wonderful.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Perfect.
Did we approve treasurer's report? in this time?
No.
Oh, no, we didn't approve it, Tony. Sorry. Tony, good catch. Good catch. That's why she's here.
I would,
She was on track.
I would make a motion.
I
You should
did ask
acknowledge
for
the finding.
questions, and I didn't go for it.
Sorry.
I'll make a motion to accept
can be that guy.
the treasurer's report.
Motion.
Can I get a second? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any old business?
No old business, Chairman.
New business?
So the first is we have to approve our 2026 meeting schedule. Bill, you'll find that at the very back of your packet just about, and actually I think that's the very back packet. You will get these on your calendar electronically, following the adoption of these. There's no
Actually,
concerns.
Should be able to make November's next year.
Okay.
Yeah, get a motion to approve.
I'll make that.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We have, for the last couple of years, been sponsoring the NamTrans newsletter. This is a $750 sponsorship. Our logo goes on all of their communications. That goes out to a variety of different and a large reach of different companies. And I get to submit a editorial to them each year. So they are requesting that renewal of the NamTrans sponsorship.
Any discussion? Get a motion.
Second.
John,
You don't want a motion?
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And then just other business, just a discussion I started having with our council based on some feedback I've gotten from business community and educational partners. We've made a significant investment into workforce training programs, CVPH and the IAM. And a discussion happened on how we continue to foster that workforce development piece. And so in talking with Shannon and Chris, we're going to have this money, which we're very restricted on what we can spend that money on, as we know, workforce is one of them. So if we had a program where educational partners, BOCES, IAM, SUNY, others that might be out there that offer certifications could come to us and say, we want to train Schluter's people, maybe not Schluter, but Monahan Medical's people to do something. And it's going to cost X. Would you be willing to pay a portion of that, all of that? That would be up to the discretion of the board. We would ask for reporting requirements after they've trained them, what happened, similar to the way we do our projects. Ask the question as to whether it's going to result in an IDA project. So, somebody coming to the chamber saying, we are looking, the same way Vortex came to us, this is something we could say, this is something we offer. They could apply, the educational institution could apply on their behalf. So did I cover that
Yeah, we
appropriately?
just want to make sure it's not, characterized as a loan or a grant.
Because we can't do either of those.
Those are prohibited under the IDA statutes. The concept would be it's a program. There'd be certain steps and checks boxes you need to check to have be able to be part of that program. It would go to the institute. Was that what we're talking about?
Mhm. Or CB Tech or
Or
whoever.
CB Tech,
Yeah.
or whoever it is, but that way the funds get to the people that need this workforce training. But it's up to the IDA on a discretionary basis whether or not to approve those funds going forward. So.
I wanted to
we
just,
work out the metrics of that.
let the board know that's something I'm trying to work on, make sure it's something you wanted me to move forward with before we put work into it. Christine will tell you the budget has been ratified and, the new position for our department will be in there, but we are paying 15% of that person. And this would definitely be something that'd be an ongoing task that I think they could easily administer, and keep track of. So similar to what we're having them do for projects. And I think this might be a little bit more consistent work because projects come and go, you can get 3 at a time or you can get none for 6 months. So this would be definitely consistent work that they could, monitor. Questions, comments
On that or other stuff?
on that?
No questions.
Other stuff?
Sounds good.
What's the status of the AES project?
I can cover that under my board report if you'd like. Yes. Any other questions for the workforce stuff? Okay, then I think,
I think it's a great idea.
I don't know why the rules are so difficult, to be honest with you.
got it.
Well, I don't either, but the IDA statute is what it is. I mean, I think we'll say that.
Let's blame George.
His father. I think blame George's father. I think Hodgson Russ, as you know, takes a conservative position on a lot of this stuff because we don't want to push the envelope in terms of what the IDA. We don't want to be avant-garde. I don't think to get the AV of how you use IDA funds. And then have
They
the,
already bother me and I'm not really doing anything.
so we try to be, the Boy Scout, try to follow that rule and, we are a little conservative at times, but, for something like this, I think you end up in the same spot. You end up using IDA funds for a purpose that helps train people in needed occupations in the community. And I think we get to the same spot. It's just, so you have to be careful how you frame it because a grant is a no-no. And this wouldn't be a loan. This would be, it's more akin to a grant, but we would make sure it's not.
And it does give the IDA, some credibility as far as being a leader in workforce development. Nobody else has this. The chamber has their welding program, which I think is funded through on-the-job training through the state, but it's very restricted to that particular program. And so this gives us an opportunity to really reach, what does the community need? And we can make that happen regardless of, what type of training it is. So.
Tell you, there won't be any workforce development money is gonna get less and less.
Yep.
Going.
Yep, I agree. So this is an opportunity to really invest in that
Oh,
fashion.
yeah, I forgot we had an expert.
That, but it's not, and again, it'll be on, the numbers look like they'll go down, for next year and we just don't see it going back.
And we know from the educational partners that what they hear from the business community is, well, I can train my person. Why would I train you to do it? So if there's a financial incentive for them to use our educational partners and help them succeed, I think that puts us in a really good leadership position. Great. All right, so we'll continue working on that. So I have no other business. If Christine wants to provide the board with update of what's going on in the county.
So we had our public hearing for the budget and, we will be adopting the budget on Wednesday. So that'll be good. That's done and dusted.
Tax levies down.
Tax levies down $32,767 last year. So
5 years in a row.
20%.
You had to have that.
20%.
Don't forget about the 4 years I did. She's carrying on your picture.
Yeah, yeah. Good toolage.
See this month, you hear me say it.
Yeah, we're quickly going towards the sale of the Clinton County Nursing Home. That should be happening by the end of this week. We are happy to see that come to fruition after how many years? 3 years, like
At least, yeah.
at least. So that'll be good. And the Sand Road Water Project is also a go. So another long time project, and the relief pitcher's coming in to bring it.
Bring it home.
Starter was tired.
So that'll be good for that community. And it's a $5 million project, which was all grant funded. So that's good one too.
And being designed by one of the best
Oh,
consulting
gee.
engineer
Oh,
firms in the
gee.
state of New York, Martin and LaJudas, DPC.
You know anybody that works for them?
Yes.
Just a couple.
Any county questions for Christine or myself? Okay, awesome. So executive director's report then, Chairman. I want to just highlight, and I'll let Chris and Shannon talk mostly, but basically, Connecticut Avenue Holdings, Shannon had a great conversation with their counsel, Dean Schneller. Basically, they're in litigation with trying to get, Shannon, I'm just gonna toss it to you.
Sure. So yeah, like Molly said, Chris and I spoke with Dean Schneller. He gave me some insight of what they're going through and asked that we limit what we talk about on the public record, just because they are in active litigation with their tenant. But they are trying to basically get their tenant out of the facility, and the tenant is Starex. And the issue is, how their lease is going to terminate regardless of the IDA lease. So that's why they're still in this holding pattern. Dean did email me late Friday, I think, with their most recent quarterly report and some information on the pilot bills that they have been receiving that I requested to get a better idea of what they're paying. But at the last meeting, we talked about potentially sending another, demand letter or a default letter. And so we spoke with Dean first, and we spoke with Molly, and the information that we got from them indicated to us that it seems like they're doing their due diligence and they are trying to move forward in a way that benefits the community and keeps with what the documents with the IDA require. So we were wanting to get your take on how you wanted us to proceed.
How do we get that on the record? Other than
How do we get what on the record?
the fact that they're doing that, not just that we're happy with it, but that it's actually happening.
Their most recent letter that we received in October does cover that.
Okay.
I just got some more detail from Dean, but we can ask for a secondary follow-up, like confirming, yes, we're doing everything we can.
I guess we wanted your take, because from our perspective, I mean, we could, absolutely default if we wanted to, but it seems to us, it's just the lawyers.
No, I agree.
Trying to do what they're trying to do. They're trying to follow through and getting a new tenant, taking active steps to get rid of stuff.
I just can't understand why they're having trouble kicking somebody out. But why does the person want to stay if they're having to pay rent to stay?
That I can't.
And they're not doing it.
I know Starex is still making lease, at least the last time I heard they were.
I mean, it's not like they're squatters, they're paying rent.
So. But I can't answer that. I don't know the answer to that.
Listen, I know I was a little vocal last meeting, but if council's comfortable with what they're doing and it's not gonna get us in trouble with the ABO, I think we give them a little line. That's what I say. John, I don't know.
I'm gonna take a very hands-off approach on this one, because the bank, as you know, holds the mortgage on that property. And it puts me in a bit of a
Quantum.
Sticky wicket.
it does.
Christine?
I mean, I think if we had candid conversations with Dean and, that's a little bit of courtesy to him, give him a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's, certainly something that,
We just, I would like to create a record of the conversations that you had with their counsel.
Yeah.
And the fact that you then communicated that to the board and the board understands what they're doing.
Did we make a note of that in our audit, Shannon? In the Paris reporting, I mean, sorry.
I don't want to step on your toes, but I don't think that
We don't need to.
warrants Paris reporting.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think maybe the next step is for us to now reach out to Dean and say, you know, and talk to the board. And assuming you guys are comfortable, the board's decided not to move forward with any default action at this time. However, you know, we need to be kind of updated on everything that's going on with the new tenant process, and the quarterly reports keep going.
I agree, but I also think there needs to be a record of, we've discussed it as a board and understanding the dynamic, have, you know, decided not to take a default action on it.
I think it's what we're doing right
Okay.
now. We're in minutes, we're in the public minutes now. We're not in an executive session, so it'll be reflected in public discussion. I think.
Are we gonna give ourselves a timeline on that?
Well, that's kind of our, yeah. What do you think?
Thinking probably not much past the first quarter of the year to have some significant idea what we're doing,
I think
or at least give them a little pressure.
that's totally fair. You know,
March 31. Chairman?
I agree.
Okay, so we'll talk to them, communicate that. But have the bogey be March 31st as, you know.
Well, at least like,
we expect some progress.
if you don't, we're back to where we were
Yeah,
Well, I think
prior to the discussion with Dean.
So
Yeah,
would we
gotta be
just
understanding.
try and revisit it on March 31st? Or,
I think it's, we expect to have, for them to provide us direction by March 31st. If there is no direction or change in operation by March 31st, then we do start talking about the D word.
I think that's fair. And then we'll communicate that to Dean.
They're already in litigation now, is that correct? So they
Yes.
gotta have some standards and goals that they gotta be operating, they gotta have
I think.
a judge that's.
But again, it's maybe I'm just not smart enough to understand. You know, you know, you're trying to get rid of the tenant that's paying the lease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason I can think that they're trying to do that is to appease us. That's fine. I get why they want to do what they do. What I don't understand is why the company wants to stay there and pay rent on a building they're not using.
I'm with you.
Right.
I'm with you. So let's let us talk to them about that. Maybe we'll get an answer on that as well.
do we need proof that they're actually talking to the tenant?
What proof are they gonna give you? It might be tough to get out.
That's not privileged point.
Well, I mean, listen, I mean, don't you guys have some sort of lawyer to lawyer code of anything? That-
I have the code. to
You know
use.
that.
I have
That's
no
what
code to them.
Chris and I aren't litigators, but I think a complaint would be, we could look that up, any complaints that they
That's
filed
probably-
just to start litigation.
Yeah, you probably.
We could get
the index
records of that if
number.
you
Yeah.
want to see that.
Yeah, that would be helpful. Okay, so an update on 6B Holdings. So Chris, myself, Shannon held a call with them and their counsel, which is Bill Owens. So he was very quiet and they, you know, Chris and Shannon very much laid out what we would really need from them. And it sounds like they're going to do this project in phases. And so the first phase would be a residential component and they're going to get back to us on how many units that would be.
So how does that affect what we're doing at the public hearing?
But I defer to you, but I think they need to provide us with that
Before.
information and an updated application.
Before we move forward.
Before.
And I think they were clear on that.
I don't think we're trying to be difficult. It's just too
I
heavy.
No, but it was two.
I think that they were very
Two
receptive.
big.
They were very receptive. You know, I very much expressed how much this board wants to support the project. Everyone really likes, you know, what they want to do, which is from a legal standpoint, you know, we need to know what we're benefiting before we can hold a public
And
hearing.
they heard us.
Yeah,
They understand.
yeah.
So phase one is just the residential piece.
And so lastly, I don't have it on here, Mike, but you asked the question about AES. So Shannon provided them with a document, I don't know what you call it, but that basically lines out what our benefits are. In there, it does have our, you know, our fee structure, what that would require. I don't know where, I know you sent it to them, so.
Yeah, so they put together a project agreement. They basically want something signed and on the record before the end of the year, saying what the amount of the benefits are and what the pilot terms are, which were discussed on your minutes and they're set forth in your approving resolution, but they want, a signed contractual agreement. So we sent them back comments. We included the IDA's fee, which would be, I think 25%, Molly, and then obviously it says it would pay any other fees that the IDA incurs in connection with signing this agreement. And then once they get their Article 7 approvals, then we'd be able to go forward with the full street lease.
And the other 75%.
Yes.
So we'll need to finalize that agreement and get it signed by the IDA.
Yeah, but I don't think people would want to even be on the hook for 25% of something if they didn't think it was going to come to fruition.
Oh, no, I agree. I totally agree. Yep. And again, this isn't any kind of, we're on the hook for anything. This is
Right.
just saying, these are the benefits that have already been approved by the IDA. You need this for purposes of your financing. Here it is. So,
And they're gonna give us a partial payment because they wanna try and, understand that, we have things that we wanna do and, but, I can't pay the full thing right now, so.
Executive director keeps spending money.
non-refundable 25%. The project were to go nowhere.
Gotta spend it. Alright. So just lastly, hope you enjoyed Fork and Knife if you haven't already, because I wanted to do something a little different for Christmas. Unfortunately, your gifts aren't here yet, but I did get you these nice little Yeti gifts, Yeti cup holders. So
Blue, that nice blue.
nice blue, it's like the IDA blue. And so hopefully when they come in, I will give you a call to come pick them up, or I can arrange for it to be dropped off. And if you haven't signed the Christmas cards yet, please do so.
John wants to sign more.
Please, please.
So I think that's all I have, Sherman. unless
Motion
there are
to
other
adjourn.
questions. Second.
Discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
You do CRC or CRC?
So, yeah, real quick.
Yeah, because we have to, that's right, we have to initiate the audit. Or recommend initiation of the audit and then
Sure.
ratification.
Call the Clinton County Capital Resource Corporation, meeting to order. Read the, declare a quorum. Read the reading of the notice of the meeting as well as the minutes and ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion.
John, second, Christine, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Treasurer's report, Christine covered in the last meeting, so I don't think we need to repeat that. May I get a motion to approve the treasury report?
So moved, Jim.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And, same thing on the audit, we don't have a quorum. We're going to, authorize the initiation of the audit. And, I guess I need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion again.
John, second, Christine, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Any old or new business? May I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.